Morning, everybody. This is your lesson for the week starting the 30th of March. I'm going to review what the tasks you're going to be doing over the following week and doing a little bit of a lesson which you'll need to pause at various points and complete tasks as I point you out what those tasks are. I've also included my image in the bottom corner of your screen just so you can see a familiar face, so it feels a bit more like a lesson. If you've got any particular questions about the work, then just send me an email and I can respond. First thing is, at the moment, all of these tasks should just be completed in your class notes. So what you're going to need is your land uses and conflicts in a glaciated coastal landscapes topic notes, and you'll also need the blue textbook that I gave you in class. So these are the two things that you're going to need to complete these tasks. After the holidays, I'm going to be putting a new topic up into the Google Classroom, the weather topic, and all of your work will be completed digitally online and handed in at the end of the week using the hand in button in the Google Classroom. And that way we'll be able to, or I'll be able to see what you're doing from one week to the next. Okay, but just for this week and last week's work, make sure that you're working in your class notes, and by the end of this lesson, this week's lesson, you will find that that topic note set should be completed entirely. If you're missing any sections, maybe just speak to somebody on social media who's in the class with you and get them to send you a photo too of whatever page number you were missing your notes for. Okay, I want to start off today's lesson with you reading page 99 of the Physical Environments textbook. That's a little introduction to the coastal landscape that is our case study. And in this case, it's Dorset, which is in the south coast of England. And it's just have a look at page 99. There it is, Dorset coastal landscape. And there is a map on page 100 that shows you where it is, but it's south of London on the southern coast of England. Now, it's a very appropriate coastal landscape study because it's an incredibly popular area. It's one of the busiest areas for tourists in the United Kingdom, and therefore there's quite a lot of impacts. Now, we're not going to be looking at impacts, conflicts, and how to solve conflicts in the same way that we did with the glaciation topic. All you need to know for coasts is 4 different land uses and why they are suitable for this landscape. So if we have a look at number 2, task number 2 on your worksheet, and you've got to make sure you've opened your work task sheet for this week with the instructions, you will see that I'm asking you to explain why renewable energy in farming is suited to coastal environments, and then you have to use your class note set on page 21 to complete the 2 bits of work that go with this. So let's first start talking about renewable energy. So why is renewable energy suited? Well, if we just going to bring up an image of a wind farm here off the Dorset coast. First reason why coastlines really suit renewable energy, especially wind energy, is because you can put the wind farms offshore, like you can see here. Now, the reason why this is suitable is a number of reasons. First of all, wind offshore is much stronger than onshore. As soon as you're onshore, then the landscape, you can see in the background, starts to break up the wind and slow it down. Whereas when you're off the coast, you get your strongest winds. And that's why coastal areas really suit wind energy. Second reason is wind can blow from any direction. And what you need to be able to do is ensure that your wind turbines turn regardless of the wind's direction. Now, on the land, because of things like mountains and hills, when wind blows from certain directions, sometimes those landscape features can obstruct the wind and slow it down, which means the wind turbines don't turn as effectively or work as effectively from different directions. Whereas offshore, you've got no problem because it doesn't matter what way the wind's blowing from, the wind turbines will turn. Third reason why offshore really works and why coasts are suited is you're less likely to get NIMBYism. Now, we talked about what NIMBYism meant in class. That's not in my backyard. When you build these wind farms onshore, you get a lot of people protesting about the noise and the ugliness of these wind turbines. Whereas if you stick them offshore, no, you're less likely to get people who are going to complain. One problem here, which it's worthwhile noting about, is you will get some environmentalists that are upset with this because they feel that these offshore wind farms can disrupt marine life in the area. Sticking with this idea of renewable energy, it's not just wind that really suits coastal environments. You've also got the increasing technologies of tidal energy, which is now starting to appear in various coastal areas of the United Kingdom. And tidal energy is great in a coastal environment because the tide happens every day. It always happens. It's not like the wind, which can stop and is not always guaranteed. The tide's always guaranteed, at least twice a day. And therefore, we are now starting to build a lot more tidal power stations offshore. And the tidal energy is actually a bit like just putting a wind turbine, but putting it under the water. And as the tide comes in, the turbines turn. And there is also the beginning of wave energy, which is in its early days, but we are starting to find ways of harnessing energy from the waves, and therefore coastal environments would really suit the generation of wave energy. So that's renewables. Stop the video at this point and take some notes on renewable energies. Okay, hopefully you've now written up all of the points I made on renewable, and now I want to talk a little bit about farming. Why is Dorset really suited to farming? Well, the first thing is it's really suited to crop farming. And the reason for that is it's the warmest area of the country in the United Kingdom, and its summer temperatures average at about 16 degrees. And these warm temperatures really suit the raising and growing and cultivation of crops. Another big bonus of this environment is that the south coast of England is facing south all the time. Therefore, wherever you plant your crops, it's always facing the sun. See, the sun always rises in the east, moves across the south, and sets in the west, which means any landscape that's south-facing is getting the sun all day long, whereas a north-facing slope or landscape, like we have in a lot of areas of Scotland, are in the shade a lot. And of course, if you're facing the sun all the time, your crops are going to grow. On top of that, the south coast of England gets roughly 1,700 hours of sunshine a year, which means the crops won't just grow, but they'll grow for a long period of time. The growing season is a good 2 months longer than it is in Scotland. On top of that, if we compare that to the number of hours of sunshine in Loch Lomond, for example, they only get about 1,200. So this area here in this photo is getting 500 hours more of sunshine a year than in Loch Lomond, which means the crops are going to grow much longer. Another big benefit is the soils are really deep, which and fertile in the south of England. They weren't affected by the Ice Age 12,000 years ago, and therefore they're much thicker than you'll find in Scotland. And that promotes healthier and stronger crops, and the soils are more productive. And finally, you can see in this landscape, it's largely flat. There aren't really any mountains, just some hills in the background. And this means that your fields can be big, and you can have a lot of machinery like tractors on this landscape, and they can navigate this landscape easily, and access to the landscape is really good. So farmers benefit from this. Whereas in Scotland, a lot of the mountain slopes are steep, which means they're inaccessible for machines, and we can only use sheep farming. So you want to pause at this point and complete the little task on farming on page 21. Okay, the last bit of the lesson is largely self-explanatory. You just have to now go through, complete the section on page 22 of your class notes on tourism. That involves you reading some of the textbook and watching these YouTube links. I've then told you how to describe and explain tourism and why tourism is really suited to the Dorset area. Then I've got a couple of Twig videos I'd like to watch. Here I'm telling you how to access Twig for the first time. So when you click on this link, you'll need to sign in. I don't want you to try to log in here. I'd rather you sign in via Google. You'll find that it doesn't work using your login here. If you sign in via Google using your school email and username, you'll be able to access these Twig videos, this one and this one down here, and then just complete the tasks that I've set you. And those tasks should all be completed on page 22. Okay. Once you've completed that, you've finished your entire topic for the moment. And then after Easter, we'll be starting looking at the weather. And that will all be posted online. And you'll also find lots of lessons, just like the one I've done with you today. So good luck and stay safe. Hope you're all doing okay. And I look forward to some emails if you've got any questions. Otherwise, you'll hear from me again after the Easter holidays.